We'll call our regular council meeting of March 23rd, 2020 to order. Thank you, council, for being here, maintaining our physical distancing and carrying on with our regular council meeting in our council chambers and setting the example that we want to be the leaders in our community and respectful of the distances, physical contact, etc. that the province has set out for us. So with that, we'll carry on with our regular meeting, and there's no delegations. And council to consider adopting the minutes of the regular council meeting of March 9th.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
I just have one question. We did first reading on a zoning bylaw. What's the next steps on that?
That, just refresh me, we have a number, this is the one for the site
yeah.
Riverside Motel?
Yep.
We will have to inform Ministry of Transportation because it's within 500 meters of a by roadway to the nearest highway. We will also have to have a public hearing, and the public hearing could be problematic with the restrictions in place.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to do a little bit of research, talk to municipal affairs to find out how best to deal with a situation like that.
Thank you.
It may have to be on hold for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Thanks for clarifying.
Okay.
Further discussion? All in favor? Carried. Business arising from delegations?
Excuse me, if Councillor Pittman, since we can't see your hand going up.
Sorry, yes, agreed.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Business arising from the minutes? Seeing none?
From my end.
Committee reports. Economic Development. Councillor Peters and Councillor Coomber.
No meeting, no report.
Budget Administrative Services, Councillor Peters and Councillor Coomber.
I just have a question in regards to the letter on page 8 of our package from CFIB. The recommendations that they have asked us to support. Are we able to do these the way that we are tonight with the voting on their resolution that we're going to bring forward, or are there other legal ramifications or barriers to us doing any of these things?
Everything is in such flux right now. There's some of the stuff that they're asking us to do that is provincially mandated. We can't just
That's what
say
I meant.
we'll waive these fees. That's entirely up to the province.
Okay, thank you, that's what I thought.
And everything is so up in the air right now. I'm expecting a number of policy decisions and directives to be coming from various ministries, but for our purposes, for municipal affairs on this and related issues, such as delay or postponing the deadline for taxes, or remitting taxes. All of that is still up in the air at this point.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to confirm. Thanks. That's all I got.
Thank you. Policy and Bylaw Review, myself and Councillor Peters.
I move that we approve an extension of the deadline for the 10% discount on utility payments to May 31st, 2020.
Second.
Discussion?
Rather than have a May 31st date, I was thinking maybe waive the discounts and all penalties until the provincially mandated COVID-19 restrictions are lifted. Does that make it easier for you guys, or do we want to review it again at a different date?
My own thinking, that's a council decision, and you're certainly within your authority to do that. My own thinking is, let's wait until our last meeting in May, and then we'll make another decision.
Okay.
If that provincial health emergency is still in place, then we may want to hold off until that's lifted.
Okay, I was just trying to figure out what was easiest for you guys, because I know
We'll
it's a
have
big...
to do a follow-up meeting regardless.
Anyway, okay.
So for clarification, May 31st is the new deadline.
Yes.
Is there,
And will be,
Yeah,
it
I
may be
moved to
adjusted
recess
down the
second.
road depending on circumstances.
Correct, thank you. All in favor?
Councilor Pittman?
In favor.
Seniors discount waiver?
I move the council approve discounts be granted without signatures and that forms be held and the signers be advised they need to come in and sign when restrictions are lifted.
second?
Discussion? Counselor Coonber?
So we're still looking for, you'd call it proof of 65 or older?
1 second, I'm still writing this now. Okay, your question again, sorry?
So we'd still be looking for written proof that they're eligible.
Well, they would have to come in and sign when we're able to open the office to the public again.
Right, okay.
Something that we need to, down the road, we need to address this. I don't see any need for people to come in year after year after year, let's set up a database. Once they've signed for the first time, they don't have to come in again, as long as they're living in the same residence.
They don't get any younger.
Exactly.
Yeah, but sometimes
good.
we would have change of ownership.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that kind of resets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
But
even
as
if
long
they're
as
still
the
in
title-
Cache Creek, if they change to a different residence, then they would have
Have
to
to come back in,
Yeah.
yeah. It would be based on the title.
And sometimes they pass away, in which case they wouldn't be coming in.
Probably not.
What was that? I missed it.
If they pass away, they wouldn't be coming in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but then someone else would come in and try to pay, and we would ask if they are the dependents or something, and if they qualify again or something like that.
One of the advantages of a small town, because most of them are known to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, if council doesn't mind, can I read back what I was kind of writing down there? The motion right now is the council approve discounts be granted without signatures, forms can be held and signed when restrictions are lifted.
Okay.
Counselor Coonber?
Are residents still, or are they allowed to pay by check?
Yes.
Yes.
They can also phone in with a credit card number. They can also set it up to pay through their bank.
These are just questions that were asked on Facebook, so I thought I'd write them down and ask.
We will be posting them on our website and on our Facebook page.
Another
Need
question
council's
was the mail
approval tonight
slot
first,
as well.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Someone also mentioned online about the mail slot,
Mhm.
I answered them.
but I would do it within working hours, not working hours, so people don't just come randomly and try and break in to steal them.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a
Good
good
point.
point.
What was that point?
The mail slot only be used during business hours so that there's not envelopes sitting there tempting somebody to break in.
Ah, yeah, true.
Well, how would we control that though? Would we put a lock on the
Well, you-
mailbox lock?
We could make a little laminated sign, put it right above the slot, please do not use except during office hours.
Put a piece of cardboard over the flap at night and take it off in the morning.
Yeah, we could do that
Yeah,
too.
that too.
Just prevent it from
Yeah.
being used.
Well, CFO Martini, are you confident that the succession from 65 and older, that we can keep documenting that as we go to ensure that we are going to adequately address or be confident enough to ensure that they are 65 and older and that succession will work?
Well, we do have to ask ourselves more questions, because if there is, as Councillor Coonber mentioned, one of the residents passes and now the successor is a much younger one, then we have to have a way to determine that. So that's something that we have to really look at. How are we going to do that?
Yeah, that's why I didn't want
Today, yeah.
to do it tonight, but
Yeah.
just giving council a heads up, we're gonna work on a system to bring it to council at a later date.
That's fine,
Yeah.
thank you, that's all I needed to know. So, call the question, all in favor?
In In favor.
Public Works and Community Facilities, myself and Councillor Defoe.
No meeting, no report?
Just to reiterate to everyone that, the public, that the Cache Creek Playground equipment has been roped off or cordoned off today. And the community hall and the fitness center have also been padlocked, so we have no entry. And that's it for me.
What was padlocked, sorry?
The community hall.
Okay.
We could lock it up, there are way too many keys out there, so we padlocked it.
Okay. And the playground equipment, is that what you said is cordoned off now?
Yeah, we've strung it with flagging tape and put up 4 signs around it, closed until further notice.
Okay.
Any further under Public Works Community Facilities? Councillor Coomber?
So do the radio people not have access to their studio?
Well, we have made arrangements, I don't know if they've actually picked up a key yet, but they will be getting a key for the padlock.
They also have the ability most of the time to push it through remotely. So that's what they've been doing up to date.
Sorry, what was that question?
Whether the radio station would have access to their equipment.
Okay.
So unless something goes wrong that they have to go and reset, I don't know that there would be a need for them to actually go to the station.
You guys okay?
Yeah, we're just relocating you so that you can hear everybody.
So that everybody can hear?
And you can hear everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, moving on to Village Services and Liaison. Councillor Defoe and Councillor Coomber. And I'm gonna do my part, I guess, if that's okay with you
I'll
too.
recommend that you go ahead and move it.
Canadian Royal Purple Week. Whereas this Canadian Society of fun-loving, dynamic, dedicated volunteers help children and their communities, and whereas this nationally incorporated not-for-profit organization provide a forum for like-minded individuals to come together to make a difference in their communities, and whereas local decision-making and the opportunity to learn builds sustainability, and whereas the province's principles of Canadian Royal Purple, justice, charity, love, and service provide a strong foundation to learn and prosper, and whereas the impact of the volunteer work of Canadian Royal Purple members serves each lodge's community, and whereas membership is open to a resident of Canada who has reached 14 years of age, who supports democratic and lawful government and the purposes and objectives of the Canadian Royal Purple Society, and whereas Royal Purple is a valuable asset to our community, Ashcroft Lodge 263 has existed since April 6th, 1961, and whereas Royal Purple has existed in Canada since 1914. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Santo Talarico, Mayor of Cache Creek, British Columbia, do hereby proclaim May 10th to 16th, 2020 as Canadian Royal Purple Week. We hereby recognize Canadian Royal Purple for the significant impact it has made and continues to make in our community. Well done, that's 1914. Wow, that's impressive. And they've been active since 1961 in our community, as long as I've been here. So, not since 1973, so that's a long time. Okay. Yes, Councillor Coomber.
I have one other item. I was in a phone-in meeting for Historic Cat Creek Ranch. What's today? Monday, last week. And they have a few employees. They're already out there getting the facility ready to open. The opening day is May 1st, but we kind of doubt that it's not going to be May 1st. It might be a little later. We're just hoping that we don't lose the entire season. But anyway, things are moving out there, and we're getting ready to open when the province says that it's okay to do so.
Thank you.
We just didn't close off on that item for the Royal Purple.
Nothing has to be done with that.
Oh,
He made the proclamation.
Yeah, it doesn't need a resolution, it just
it doesn't?
needs,
Okay.
it just needs a
It just
reading
says
of it,
recommendation.
yeah.
Okay. Page 8 of the agenda, the CS, whatever it is.
We're on to,
Yeah,
we're on to
I-
protective services right now.
Pardon me?
We're on to protective services right now.
Yeah, but we skipped the,
I asked the question of Martin and he answered it, that we are mandated as to how we can deal with those things and we have to wait for guidance.
okay.
Yeah,
Can you,
sorry,
can you hear us okay?
Yeah, it just, it's a little noisy in this tin building, that's all, okay.
Yeah, we moved the phone because we had the conference phone on Councillor Cooper's desk, so I guess you probably didn't hear me because I'm at the other end of the room.
Okay,
You're-
okay, no, I just missed that spot then. Okay, good. Sorry, where are we now?
Protective services?
Protective services, myself and Councillor Coomber.
Okay.
Perhaps Councillor Coomber can give us a little bit of summary of our meeting at AIB if she wishes. Otherwise, I can.
Yes, I left all of my notes at home.
Just a brief summary is all we need. Councillor Coomber, thank you.
Well, it was March 17th, and I believe we had about 14 people there representing Cache Creek, Ashcroft, Ashcroft Indian Band, the ambulance service, Interior Health, and the TNRD Emergency Management. And am I missing anyone?
Pharmacy?
Oh, yes, the pharmacy, Ashcroft Pharmacy. And we discussed whether we had a joint, or whether we had the beginnings of a joint plan, something that information sharing is very important in a situation like this, to know what each other is doing and whether we have any gaps in service, such as water, such as prescription medication. I think we pretty much got it covered so far, but as you say, Mayor Tellerico, everything is moving so quickly that it's hard to keep those balls juggling in the air at the same rate. So we came out of it with a joint statement, and there will be, I believe, future meetings when we need them. I would like to see them more regularly, but that's up to everyone to decide. What
Thank
would
you.
you add?
It was nice to get together with everyone that did attend, and we got a pretty good overview of what, especially from the pharmacy end of things, where they get their medications and where they're produced and how they end up in Ashcroft and how they maintain their supply chain. That was something for me that was very important. And of course, all the dialogue with all the other communities and representatives that were there was, bar none, the best way that we could have opened up dialogue with other local governments to try and come to grips with what we're going through right now. And all the suggestions were good. There wasn't, it was a collaborative effort on everybody's part, and I'm looking forward to some additional meetings in the future because there's a lot to gain by it.
Unfortunately, Clinton was missing, but they had, we found out that night, they had just lost their administrator unexpectedly, and the administrator didn't pass on the fact that there was a meeting that night, so they didn't know.
Mayor Swan was able to attend, and they didn't lose her, she's just in self-isolation.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
hopefully this is the start of many of those meetings, even when there aren't emergencies to deal with.
Yes,
That's a good point. For
Was
sure.
the village of Ashcroft there?
yes.
Many more groups were invited, but weren't able to attend for whatever reason, but hopefully they will in the future.
Councillor Defoe?
Myself, Councillor Peters, and Councillor Coomber attended also emergency management planning upcoming information session. That was very informative on to what to expect for the coming season. Unfortunately, it looks like we might be into some flooding. So to prepare our areas of most need is very important and crucial to still point out to the public, as well as to be mindful of your neighbors at this important time.
Thank you. Councillor Coomber?
I have a little story to add. After the meeting was over, I was standing next to the lady who coordinates Kamloops's Emergency Support Services, ESS. And I said to her, you know, your volunteers did such an amazing job that night that we had to evacuate. I was so impressed that when I got back from evacuation, I joined our local ESS, and that she was just so thrilled. She said that she had to tell her group afterwards. I said, well, it's hardly a story. She says it's very important though. She said the night before they were talking and they agreed that Cache Creek residents were the best that they had out of the whole evacuation. We were the nicest. I think there were a few reasons for that, but that was really nice to hear.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Anything else under protective services? Fire department has started filling sandbags. Martin?
Up until today, the fire department was meeting, and the fire chief had said that you did not have to show up if you did not feel comfortable. As of today, they are actually not going to be practicing anymore. Of course, they will be available for call-outs, but until the COVID-19 thing is ready, they will not be having regular practices. What we have done for the sandbagging, there will be a small stockpile of bags and a big hill of sand for people to fill their own. We're going to be posting that on our pages tomorrow and advising people just take what you need, and if somebody's already there, maintain your social distancing. Wait till they're done and then go in and do yours.
Thank
You
you.
won't obviously be able to do a feed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Intergovernmental relations, myself and Councillor Coomber. If I may, Councillor Coomber. Did rest of council get this letter from Brad Biss? So this is a follow-up to a conversation him and I had a little while back. Just wanted to touch bases with him and ensure that we didn't get lost in the paperwork that he must be experiencing when he did his tour around the province, or his riding, I'm sorry. And he's drafted up a very eloquently written letter to the Minister, Honorable Patty Haydu, and the 2 points that we had were very well articulated to her. And gotta say, that was further than we got with our previous MP, and it's to the point. And I'm confident that the issue will be brought up at the House level when they're able to deal with something other than the current crisis. So I hats off to Mr. Brad Visser, MP, for doing that and taking our recommendations to heart. It's very nice to see, very encouraging. And that was it for me for the time being. Anything further? Information correspondence?
None?
New business?
I'm not sure if this would be in camera or regular, but planning for future days, given our
For future meetings?
Yeah, meetings and for staff plans if things get shut down even more than they
If
are.
if it involves personnel, then generally that should be dealt with in camera for discussion. If something comes out of that, then we can always release it to the public.
Okay. CAO Dulcet and I spoke today about future meetings and the possibility of using something like Zoom to be able to not have to meet in person to conduct the meetings.
WebEx is also another good source.
Who, what?
WebEx.
WebEx.
Yeah, actually Zoom is awful. I've spent
Yeah.
2 webinars on that now and it's so clunky.
Hey, you guys are cutting out.
Okay, we'll start speaking up a little louder then. I just wanted to say, Councilor Pittman, we were talking about conferencing capabilities. The phone that we've got you on is actually capable of handling up to 10 callers. So I don't think we need to worry about something like Zoom. I did do some online research. There are problems with a number of the conferencing solutions that are available online. Security not being one of the major ones, especially if we're dealing with a conference call and dealing with in-camera topics. I'm not quite comfortable with that. It could be totally safe, I don't really know, but I have read about some serious security concerns. I would sooner deal with, if our conference phone is capable of handling up to 10 callers, let's do it that way, because that's through TELUS, and I know that their security level is very high.
And again, I have a very difficult time participating on the phone in a meeting. There is an alternative, the small meeting room at the community hall would accommodate us.
With plenty of room for social distancing, yes.
Yeah, I just, in case that, hopefully we don't hit that, but if they put the province on lockdown, I don't believe that we'll be able to do that. But
That is a concern, and that's one of the policy directives that I'm wondering whether that's going to be coming from the Municipal Affairs and Housing sometime this week.
I know that when I spoke to the Deputy Minister of Municipal Affairs today, they are discouraging municipalities from conducting council meetings, and if they do, to only limit the items to a few so that the public can attend, but taking care of our health is priority.
Well, taking care of our village and the people in there is also our priority. And I don't think we can just let business slide for a couple of 2 or 3 months while this thing passes.
Well, that's what they're saying, is that the very items, right, just to limit
deal
that,
with
because there are more important things that are going on right now.
Firstly, Zoom is one of the probably few that are out there that we could use. The trouble with any of those mediums is that they're being overloaded right now. So I was on a Zoom call on Friday. It was interrupted probably 4 or 5 times, and we had to go back and reset, simply because the system is being overloaded with companies and organizations that are trying to get together and deal with stuff, that there isn't enough. There's too much traffic
Yeah.
on the system. So,
Well, perhaps in the basement of the community hall would be a better venue for us, and give us more space.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just mentioned by Councillor Cooper a few minutes ago, and that's definitely worth considering. It's far more room than this council chamber.
Right?
There's a platform that Interior Health uses for video conferencing, but I can't remember what the name is. Every time somebody wants to video conference some group, it's a different one, so I've been on about 5 or 6 of them.
What was that, Councillor Cooper?
Interior Health uses a platform for video conferencing, but I can't remember what the name of it is at this point.
You would think that they would have a pretty secure
That's why I brought it
platform,
up,
so if council likes, I can follow up on that with Interior
just do some
Health.
research to see. I think we should have some kind of plan in place. with different tiers.
Okay, anything further under intergovernmental relations?
New business.
Sorry. New business. Questions from the public? Questions from the press?
Yes.
Yes.
If you guys do move to a phone-based video or conferencing system for future council meetings, is there a way that we can still get in on the public version of the call?
I would think
Why
so.
not? Yeah.
So just,
Should be able to, as I said earlier, that conference phone that we're using tonight can handle up to 10 calls.
okay. So I'm just making sure that we can still record those.
But you would be able to set up and then
Yeah,
do the same as we're doing tonight.
exactly.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that answers your
Or
question.
be on the conference call, yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's,
that's-
I think it's
that's-
important that
that's what I
that,
mean.
yeah, that it's important that the public still be able to access that information.
Good.
Anything else,
That's it
Gary?
for me.
Okay. Have a motion to move into a closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Carried.
Ouch.